Back then we used to do Friday night, girls' night on a Friday night. So I went round to my girlfriend's house and whatever, we're chilling and this and that, we're having a drink and that. And for some reason I just couldn't handle my alcohol and I had like a bleed. I thought I came on. I sat on the bed and all of a sudden there was blood on the bed. I was like, what the hell? As soon as the pee was going across, the first line came up. The pregnancy, I said, shut up. Shut the front door. I went downstairs to put the heating on, and as I'm coming back upstairs, I felt like I had like a dizzy spell, like I was going to fall off my feet. That doesn't happen to me, so I thought, hey, I don't know why I thought pregnancy, but obviously now I know now. I just thought, oh, I have to wait now, and the torture was killing me because I needed to know now if it's in my tube or not, because if it is, I need them to do something rapid so that I can save this last one piece of tube that I've got. Hello guys, and welcome back to my visual diaries. I'm Maryam The Chosen One. If you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you for stopping by in this video. And welcome to the family. Obviously, if you're already a loyal subscriber and you check in and tune in every single time I drop a video, hey! And thank you for sticking with your girl. Now, this is a video, part of what was supposed to be a 5-part series, but then I realised that I've already posted my last miscarriage, so I will link the video at the playlist to that journey at the end of this video, so be sure to stick by to the end, please, and thank you. It is free to do so. And also, not also, so because I've already done that, I'm not going to do another video on that experience because I've already recorded that and it is already on my channel. So it is going to be a 4-part instead. So just a little bit of a backstory. If you are new and you've just stumbled across this video, I've done one previous video about my first miscarriage, and then I'd done another video on my ectopic, which was my second miscarriage. And this will be my 3rd miscarriage story. My 4th is already on the channel, and the last video on this little 4-part series now, as opposed to 5, is going to be my husband joining me, just talking about his experience from a man's perspective and how the miscarriages has impacted his life and how he felt during that process. So that will be coming on the channel next, or probably next 2 videos. So be sure to tune in and hit that bell notification so that you do not miss another upload. Right, so if you're new, I'm going to give you a little slight bit of a backstory. I'm Maryam The Chosen One, like I've already said, and I have had 4 miscarriages to date, 6 pregnancies, and I've had 2 live births, which is my 2 daughters that I have, Winter May and Lily May, and we are trying for our 7th pregnancy as we speak. And I am on cycle number 7, if my mind serves me right. Cycle number 7. And it still hasn't happened yet, but that's for another video, I guess. Anyway, let's jump straight into the video. Okay, so my 3rd miscarriage would have been February of 23. And there's a running theme here, if you've not noticed. I tend to take a pregnancy test on my gut instincts per se, because I do have PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, so my cycles kind of vary. This is for all the new people that don't know. My cycles do vary, so there isn't really a set time. So like normal ladies that don't have PCOS, they tend to have maybe a 28-day cycle or a 30-day cycle, or they know round about when their menstrual is about to start, give and take a day or 2 either way. But for me, some days I might have a cycle 23, 24, 27, 30, it just depends. So this particular pregnancy, I took a test, funny enough, and I had to go back into the archives and check out my diary and see when I took that test, and it was on cycle day 27. So early, not even 4 weeks, right? So I took a test. Now I've took that test just purely because I woke up one morning to do the school run, as I do, and I went downstairs to put the heating on, and as I'm coming back upstairs, I felt like I had like a dizzy spell, like I was going to fall off my feet. That doesn't happen to me, so I thought, hey, I don't know why I thought pregnancy, but obviously now I know now, and I'm actively TTCing, I know that that is one of your signs and symptoms, like having dizzy spells or feeling lightheaded. So I says, let me just go and take a test, and I just so have to have a test in my drawer, you know. So I've gone and peed on the stick, literally at that moment, and as soon as the pee was going across, the first line came up. The pregnancy, I said, shut up. Shut the front door. I was like, what the hell? So I took a photo and I sent it to my husband, and I called him and I said, have you checked your WhatsApp? And he was like, no, why this time? He's on his way to work, you know. And he's checked the WhatsApp. The kids are getting ready for school. He's checked the WhatsApp and he was like, Ryan, you're pregnant? I was like, yeah. But to be fair, when I thought back, yeah, it was my little sister's friend's 30th birthday. Yo. And that, I know the weekend that I conceived anyway, because it was all happening, right? It definitely had to be that weekend. There was just something different about my body. Listen, it was definitely that weekend. I don't think I've had a weekend like that since, to be fair. Hence why I'm probably not pregnant. What the hell? Anyway, going off course. So, I'm going to skip back slightly, right? So I'm going to skip back to a week prior. So a week prior, literally, like, it was a Saturday, the week before, and a family member of mine, my cousin had a 60th, my cousins, because the twins, had a 60th birthday party. And so I'm getting ready for this birthday party, and I just felt really sluggish. Now, on the Friday, back then we used to do Friday night, girls' night on a Friday night. So I went round to my girlfriend's house and whatever, we're chilling and this and that, we're having a drink and that. And for some reason, I just couldn't handle my alcohol, and I had like a bleed. I thought I came on. I sat on the bed and all of a sudden there was blood on the bed. I was like, what the hell? And I thought, because my periods are not regular anyway, I didn't think nothing of it. And I remember texting my husband saying, oh my God, I've just come on. So the next day, which was a Saturday, I didn't drink as much. I did drink, but not as much. But it felt like I'd really gone in. It felt like the next day, the hangover was rotten. But obviously, pregnancy was on its way. That was why. I felt rotten. So I even remember seeing my cousin Jade, that you've seen in the podcast if you watched it. And as she pulled up on the side, I was on Hube High Street getting some hair stuff for my hair. And she was like, yo, what's wrong with you? Have you got toothache? And I was like, no, I was drinking last night. She was like, you look rough. I was like, I feel rough. So anyway, when I got home on the Saturday, after the bleed at my friend's house, I noticed that it had stopped. Literally, it had stopped. Now, I've not really experienced implantation before, other than with the ectopic pregnancy. And like I said, it was really slight, but this was an actual bleed. With the ectopic pregnancy, it was just like normal cervical mucus, but just with a tinge. When I mean a tinge of pink, like little streaks in it, nothing major. This time it was like blood, so I thought I was coming on. This time it didn't last no time. By the next day, there was nothing there, nothing that required a pad or anything, right? Not even a panty liner, nothing there. So I just thought, oh, okay. Didn't think nothing of it, because like I said, with PCOS, I've had a period for like an hour and then nothing else. So this is not odd to me. Didn't think nothing of it. Anyway, went to the party, fine. Week later, woke up, felt dizzy, took the test, pregnant. I said, I bled last week. What the hell? Anywho, that must have been implantation bleeding, as I'm gathering. and I've had that twice out of the 6 pregnancies that I've had. All the other pregnancies, once I'm pregnant, I'm just pregnant. I don't see blood until birth. Anywho, so I'm now in panic mode. Natural instinct is to be in panic mode because I know that my last pregnancy I had ended in miscarriage. All sorts is going through my mind at this point because I'm like, right, I need to make sure, A, the pregnancy is located in the correct place. I don't want to leave it too long, like in the ectopic, and then I end up losing my last tube that I've got. Obviously, I was thankful that I was able to conceive so randomly with 1 tube, but now panic's taking over kind of thing. So to do it, I went and got my bloods done because at this point, now I was I high risk? Oh, actually, I was already high risk with from when I had winter May. I think in my last video I said I wasn't high risk. I remember because I had hyperemesis and I was consultant led. So when you're consultant led, it means that you're high risk, right? And my books and stuff was a different colour. So I was high risk, so it's quite easy for me to go hospital and get bloods done and get checked and stuff like that. I don't have to wait the long period when I had my first pregnancy and my second miscarriage. Obviously I wasn't high risk when I had what am I talking about? When I had my first pregnancy, I wasn't high risk. When I had my first miscarriage, I wasn't high risk at that point. By the time I had winter May, I was classed as high risk because I was very poorly with that pregnancy. But I will do another video on hyperemesis at some point soon. As we're on a running theme about pregnancy, I might as well. So because I'm classed as high risk, I went to the hospital. I called them up to tell them that I was pregnant. They told me to come in to get my bloods done. Now, usual routine, if you don't know about getting your HCGs done, I've got a video from my last pregnancy journey, going to the hospital every 48 hours. At the same time, they do the test to have your bloods done to make sure they are doubling. So I went, got my first set done, went back 48 hours later. My bloods, my I never can say this right. HCG was going up fine, doubling fine, they were happy. Went back, fine, they were happy. Then it got to a point where I think you have to be over like 1,005 or something, because they, based on them numbers, they know that they'll be able to see something on the scan. Anything below that, they know that if we scan you, we're not going to see anything. We might just see a sac at a push, right? So they like to wait till you're over 1,005 or 2,000, right? So I'd got to that point and they were like, right, we're going to schedule in for a scan, fine. Went in for the scan. So that might have made me around 6 weeks, maybe. So when I went, they done the scan and they were like, okay, right. So we can see a sac there, but it's saying that you're measuring about 4 weeks. When was your last? No, and they said we can see something inside the sac, but it's not really, there's no fetal pole there. And if you're 6 weeks, we should be seeing some form of fetal pole. Maybe you're not as further along as you thought. When was your last cycle, whatever the weather. They've done all of that. So I said, oh, okay. I was just happy that it was located in the correct place. So at this point, I'm not really bothered about nothing else. I'm going to be honest with you. I weren't really too fussed. I just was happy that it was not outside the uterus, in my fallopian tube, in nothing. When they said to me, we can confirm that the pregnancy in you're having in uterine pregnancy, which is in the uterus, and you know everything looks fine, whatever the weather. It's just that it seems like you're measuring at this gestation, fine. What we'll do is we'll get you back in next week. So went home, went about my business, whatever. My daughter's birthday's come around, but I'm still panicking, like thinking, right, I just need to... No, actually, I remember prior... Let me go back a little bit. this is going to be all over the place because as I'm speaking to you, things are coming back into my mind. Prior to me going for my scan, I booked a private scan because let me tell you something. I was panicking. I was like, I can't wait for this NHS to come tell me. I need to know if it's, make sure it's not in my tube. So I booked a private scan down in, I think it was Bury Town Centre. But I didn't make it there because obviously I had to have a full bladder and all that jazz. And driving from home to Bury, I couldn't do it. I wasted my money because I could not do it. Because halfway there, I had to stop off at somebody's pub and say, excuse me, do you mind if I use your toilet? And I used the toilet and I had to wait and I tried to save some, but I couldn't. So there's no point. I had to turn back and go home and I was so upset because I just thought, oh, I have to wait now. And the torture was killing me because I needed to know now if it's in my tube or not. Because if it is, I need them to do something rapid so that I can save this last one piece of tube that I've got. Do you know what's so funny? It was never my aim to have even one child, let alone 2, 3, 4 or 5 or whatever. It was never in my plan. I was that lady that was happy to spend my money on clothes and shoes. Like, I weren't fussed. I had my godchildren and I was fine with that. But once I had Lily May, my priorities changed, my outlook on life changed, everything changed. But I still only thought I would just have the one. And then, life happens and you end up pregnant. So you just roll with it. And I feel like I'm made to be a mum. It's just, I find it very easy. Some people don't. I'm very maternal anyway. So Virgos are natural nurturers and I am a Virgo. So I can't imagine not being a mum now. I cannot imagine it. I wouldn't replace the life I was living before as a single mingle to what the life I'm living now. I just really wouldn't. So anyway, when you get told that you potentially can't have any children, you're going to struggle, it changes the whole game because now you want to have a kid. Now, like, every pregnancy and every child's so precious. Like I said, earlier in life, I didn't care much about having a child at all. But at that time, I didn't know that it would be a struggle if I wanted to. And then on top of it, I've got PCOS and now I've got one tube. So I was panicking. I didn't want to have no tubes. I really didn't. So anyway, fast forward, went to the scan. And they've scanned me. They've done a transvaginal internal scan after they've done that abdominal one. And then they noticed that the sac had grown. It had grown, but there still was nothing inside the sac. They thought they could see something in there at the last scan, but now at this point, there wasn't. I think they've done like 3 scans, I think I went back a further time again, and it had stopped growing at that point. So in hindsight, I would have been, by then, probably about 8 weeks maybe, by the time they've done the last scan, based on dates, but based on measurements. Remember, I was measuring like 2 weeks behind. So they just told me, like, no, at this point, there should be a fetal pulp. Like, yeah, your sac's grown in size, but there's nothing inside anymore. So what is it you would like to do? So I had the option of, letting just the body do its thing. I didn't have to take any like naproxen, like the injection or anything like that, because it's quite early, so it would have just passed through eventually. At some point the body would have reabsorbed and it would have done its thing. But during that time when you're doing that, you're still having symptoms, because my HGCs they hadn't started to decline as yet. So I said, I'm not prolonging this process. The thing is with me, it might sound a bit heartless, but you see, the moment I know I'm having a miscarriage, I kind of want it over and done with so I can kind of get past that point in my life and just move forward. I don't want to prolong it. I don't want to sit and grieve over something that's no longer here. So, and I've got my family and my children to contend to. I can't be sitting and dwelling on that. So I just like to kind of have it over and done with so I can kind of close that chapter and move forward. That's just how I deal with it. Maybe if I didn't have a family and I didn't have children, my mindset might be different, but I can't be Debbie Downer and I cannot do it when I've got beings that rely on me. I can't let it consume me in that way. So she says, okay, the next option will be to have a D&C, which I've had done before. I've had it done numerous times. So I said, yeah, go for the D&C, that's fine. Okay, we can do it on, say, I think it was I think the earliest appointment I had was like a Thursday. I just signed, I said, I'll take the Thursday. And that was like 2 days later. So I was like, okay, cool. Went back 2 days later, I had my D&C done. It was a day case. So went in the morning, got seen fairly early, and then was out by late afternoons, early evenings. I was back home. But I feel like that pregnancy, it's really short and sweet. It was small bit of excitement. We told the children early, whereas with the ectopic, Lily twigged it. This time round, I said, shall we tell children? Yeah, should we? Did the kids know? Yes, I think they did know. So it says, no, did they know? No, they didn't know. This is the thing. When you've got so many damn miscarriages, I can't keep up. All of it's kind of like a blur. So, no, I don't think the children knew. I think it was the last... No, they did know. Okay, so the children did know. We told them and they were so excited. And I told them just because, like what happened with the ectopic, they didn't know initially. Well, when Lily did know, she twigged. But then, especially for Winter May, not knowing that I was pregnant, then all of a sudden I'm in hospital. Like, they're very clever children. I have to tell them. Because you just don't know which way it's going to go. And if it goes the right way, based on Winter May's pregnancy, I'm very sickly all the time. I was in hospital a lot. So I had to kind of tell them. But then now I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't, because they were so excited. They were talking about, oh, whether I want a brother, whether I want a sister, what names they want. Oh, mummy, right, Winter May's online looking at prams. She was so excited because Winter May's like a little woman, honest to God. She was so excited. And I felt so bad for her. I felt bad for all of us, but I felt really bad for her because she was so excited. So when I got pregnant again, which was last year, September, it was more for the girl, like, honest to God, it was more for the girls. And even now, TTCing, I'm doing it for the girls, for myself now, but really for them. Honest to God, they want to have a sibling so bad. They really do. So I'm trying. I never thought I'd be trying to have a kid for nearly 42, but it is what it is. If God says yes, nobody can say no. So I have my faith and I'm going with it. Nothing's before its time, and what's for me will never pass me. That's how I live by. That's why I'm so like happy-go-lucky, and I can speak to you about this experience, my experiences, without tearing open, whatever, because I've kind of understood my journey and understood that you go through things for a reason, and maybe this is just preparing me for this moment, you know. And I've gone through them experiences in order to be able to share with people, so who knows. But all in a greater cause, I guess. So yeah, that was quite a short pregnancy. It wasn't long-lived, but still cherished either way. This is going to be the last I'm going to discuss my miscarriages, because like I said, the one that I had after this one was last year, September, and the video is already on my channel. Be sure to go and check out that whole playlist, binge watch. I like to think if you're TTCing, or you are just newly pregnant, or you just fancy watching pregnancy content, I have a whole playlist for that. And I'm going to leave it there. You will see my husband joining me, and we're going to discuss how he felt in the next video. So I'm going to leave it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and try for now.